Thief is one of the most OP classes in Dragons Dogma 2, being able to shred health bars very consistently and survive the most gut-wrenching attacks the game can throw at you with little to zero drawback. It truly is a vocation that makes you feel like a force to be reckoned with. Thief is painted as the class that climbs monsters and attack weak points, and while it can do all that very well, Thief excels in almost every other aspect of the game except for ranged combat. From spinning like a bladed tornado or becoming immune to all damage, it is truly a vocation you can play as either tank or DPS machine. I don't know who at Capcom decided to give this vocation the green light, because it is absolutely nuts. And moving on to what makes the Thief so exceptionally good at almost every aspect of the game, we have the skills. So first off, we have Cutting Wind. You burst around targets in very quick succession, attacking targets or a single target. This skill effectively shreds mobs of smaller targets. It gets outclassed later in the game by other skills, just based on damage, but it is very good for the early game. Next up, we have Ignited Blades, which is the upgraded version of Enkindled Blades. This sets your blade on fire to deal additional fire damage as well. This gets outclassed by another skill we'll get to later, depending on how you look at it. But early game, it is a great way to add elemental damage to an otherwise all physical build. Shadow Veil is the upgraded version of Shadow Cloak. Camouflages the player, allowing you to sneak up to enemies or past guards. During combat, this skill is effectively useless, but it serves a purpose if you are the thieving type, no pun intended. Skull Splitter, or the upgraded version of Helm Splitter. This is probably the most consistent DPS option in the game, and this is across all vocations, I might add. This skill shreds health bars regardless if it's hitting weak points or not. The only drawback is that this skill consumes quite a bit of stamina. Oh, I got a tongue twister there, sorry about that. But it is well worth the stamina consumption. It falls off against enemies immune or very resistant to slash damage, so just keep that in mind. Next up, we have Powder Blast, or the upgraded version of Powder Charge. Sets a charge on the ground or on a target, and you can then donate this ability by using the same input a second time. Does very good damage to enemy weak points, gives some very decent crowd control, and can kill those pesky rock saurians very, very easily. So this is worth using, but honestly there are so many good skills in the Thief's kit that it's difficult to justify using it above some of the others, but if you like it, then by all means go for it. Concussive Leap is the upgraded version of Concussive Step. While in mid-air, you deliver a concussive blow beneath your player that can stun targets and gives you some distance in the air. I haven't tested this all that extensively, but it doesn't seem that useful during combat, and frankly there are just much better skills to use. However, this is a very good traversal option. The added extra height you can get while in mid-air, you can activate this while jumping, so it gives you a nice vertical or horizontal boost depending on where you want to use it. Next up, we have Implicate, which is the upgraded form of Ensnare. This throws out a rope-like thing. I don't know the actual name for it, but it throws out something that yanks targets to you. This is the ultimate harpy killing tool, only because of the satisfaction you get from pulling those annoying buggers out of the sky. But even yanking any smaller targets to you, once they are downed, you can go ahead and get a critical attack, which ensures the kill on most targets. Also good at pulling bigger targets off balance or down them if they are already off balance. This is a must-have skill in my opinion. There is no denying it, no debating it. This skill is very, very useful. Smoke Shroud, or the upgraded form of smoke screen. This envelops the area around you with a cloud of smoke. I don't personally use this, but it is kind of broken. This completely breaks the aggro of all enemies, allowing you to reposition or straight up run away, if that is your type of thing. Doesn't work as well on dragons though. Next up we have Plunder, or the upgraded form of Pilfer. You steal stuff. But all jokes aside, you steal stuff from stunned or unsuspecting targets. This can be items in their inventory or items that they normally drop if it's a monster, like upgrade materials. And normally I wouldn't advise a main player use this. If you yourself are playing thief, don't use this. However, if you are running your main pawn as a thief, put this on, especially in the unmoored world. It is absolutely busted. You can get a ton of extra stuff. Trust me, just use it. Next up, we have Drawn Quarter, or the upgraded form of Gut and Run. You climb on top of an enemy to initiate this skill, and it does very, very good damage. Can outright kill the goat on a chimera. Can be used on weak points as well. It is not an essential skill, but one that is well worth having if you climb enemies a lot. Masterful Kill. This is a counter attack. Deals very good damage. However, being a timed skill and the existence of all other skills, I don't personally see a need for this skill. But if you have a counter fantasy, by all means use this. Not bad. Blades of the Pyre. Very controversial skill this. Ignite your weapon with a big explosion that also damages you and causes the scorched debilitation. So you effectively set yourself on fire. And the damage is quite a bit. The damage the skill causes to you does not make it worth using at all. But the skill has a very, very, very broken and nasty secret up its sleeve, which we'll get to very shortly. Formless Feint envelops you with shadows. This is the Meister skill for the thief. Now this skill causes you to automatically avoid all types of damage, and I mean all. There is nothing in the game that can hurt you if this thing is active. Now, remember when I said Blades of the Pyre has a nasty secret? This is the nasty secret. You activate Formless Feint and then use Blades of the Pyre on anything. You will absolutely destroy them. This takes off a complete health bar of most enemies. Like, if you hit a griffin with this in the face, the griffin will lose an entire health bar. If you hit a dragon with this right around the neck area, you can hit the heart and the head at the same time, doing even more damage. This is a completely busted, very, very busted combo. But still, very good one to have. And now we get into probably the most open-ended class skill tree in the entire game, because there is so many good combos you can use with Thief. But my personal recommendation and my personal preference, let's start off. Implicate. As I said, this is a must-have, so just use it. Skull Splitter. This is, like I said, the most reliable DPS option in the entire game. This shreds health bars, and if you use this along with, what's the skill called, the Augural Flare of the Sorcerer, if you use this in conjunction with that, you will nuke stuff. And I actually mean nuke. It is very sick. And then we have the Blades of the Pyre and Formless Feint combo. You use Formless Feint, well, you can just use it whenever you want. Don't use Blades of the Pyre by itself. It does a crap ton of damage to you. But you can by all means use Blades of the Pyre if Formless Feint is active, because all you will do is you will avoid the damage dealt to you, and you will do a big burst of damage to other enemies. So this is a sick combo. Absolutely try it. But you can certainly use other skills like what's this, powder blast. You can use drawn quarter. You can use masterful skill, masterful kill. Cutting wind, very good for early game, not as great in the late game, but it still does decent damage in the late game, don't get me wrong, it doesn't fall off completely. Igniter blades, don't use this if you are late in the game. Early in the game, very good. Shadow Veil, just don't use this. I mean, there's no real reason to sneak up on enemies in this game. Not in my opinion. You can sneak around if you have to do a silent mission, but it's not worth sneaking around. And yeah, just like I said, it's a very open-ended skill selection for the thief. So have fun with it. This is really one of the most broken classes in the game. Well, alright, and finally heading into augments. This is personal preference, honestly. But if I had to recommend anything, physical defense, you are going to be in the thick of it as a thief plenty of times. So I wouldn't use it if you are running Formless Feint constantly, and then I also wouldn't use this because you avoid all types of damage. But I don't run Formless Feint the whole time because it drains your stamina. I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but still. It does drain your stamina when it's active, so I don't use Formless Feint the whole time, and I do switch it up, that skills, every now and then. So Metal and Apotrapasm, that's a butchered name, but anyway, these are completely up to you. Provocation, I think this is worth having because you zipping around targets, drawing their aggro, you can effectively pull off very good crowd control with this. So I recommend using it. Constancy augments your knockdown resistance. Also, don't use this if you are constantly running Formless Feint, but no one is going to run Formless Feint all the time. If you do, I applaud your stamina consumption, sir. But you can honestly run many other vocation or augments with Thief. Zeal is a very good one because Thief is a very spammy class when it comes to using your abilities. So this will reduce the stamina consumption on your skill usage. And then Dynamism, being a thief, you effectively drop down a weight class with this skill. So it is very good to have, especially if you are already on a light load, running around in a very light load. Very good as a thief. I don't need to explain why that. Oh, I hope I don't need to. But some honorable mentions. Verve, it is just a flat 30 damage, but if you consider the speed at which a thief attacks, this could be pretty nutty, especially if you use it with Skull Splitter. Each hit counts, and I don't know if you guys have ever tried counting the amount of hits. It's a lot. I haven't. You don't need to use Thew, that is not a good option. You can use Endurance for more stamina. Stamina is always very good. Radiance, if you really like the exploration. This also very nice. Lethality, I think I'll actually put on Lethality there, and Endurance to make it just look a little bit better. But Lethality and Endurance on your Thief, very good options. Avidity, also very nice. You can climb your foes quicker, but I don't think it's that necessary. You can also go with Dominance, augments your knockdown power. With the speed at which Thief attacks, I don't doubt that this can hold any sort of disadvantage. So yeah, go crazy with Thief, guys. Thief is amazing. Right, final thoughts. Although Thief is not my favorite vocation, it definitely ranks in my top 3. This vocation has it all and can adapt to every scenario in the game, and honestly, you can't go wrong with Thief. A lot of fun. Even if you don't like being in the front line, Thief is fun. Just use it. I hope you enjoyed this vocation as much as the rest of us, because I can promise you there is a lot of Thief lovers out there. If you made it this far in the video, you might as well hit that like button and the sub button. Don't be shy. I'll be bringing out more vocation guides for the new players, so stick around. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll have more coming your way soon.